What's up, everyone? This is BigPowner, and today I'm going to bring some light onto an issue that a lot of people are experiencing. This is the issue of feeling like there's no currency. So I'm going to point out just some historical facts about the game that people are going to kind of reference back on. Delirium was a really high currency league, and the reason why is because the league mechanic that was added was a high currency mechanic. It's just in every single map, and it produces currency. This is a high currency league. The last one of these that we saw was Legion, which we saw the exact same thing in the main player base. Players who played Legion and then moved on to the next league, they're like, "Where's all the currency?" Which can be discouraging to players because especially if that was your first league, you don't have a lot of experience. You're like, how do I do anything? There's no currency. The thing is there is going to be currency. Unlike the league after Legion, Legion became, they just super heavily nerfed Legion. It was at its worst point after Legion as far as the monoliths. We still have access to monoliths. The thing is, it's different from the last time they did the highest currency league with Legion. Is this league they have developed the game a lot more, and they're kind of moving it into a place where more and more so, the more that you advance in the game, the more rewarding the game becomes. Previously, like looking back like 7 seasons, the way that they had the game set up just made it was nonsense. To give you an idea, the highest and most rewarding maps in Legion League were mid-tier maps as far as currency. But then the most rewarding back then, because this was before we had all the access to influenced items, which back then it was Elder, Shaper items. You had the very difficult end game of trying to get these influence items because we didn't have influence orbs, we didn't have any of this stuff. It was an awakener's orbs if we want to transfer over, Shaper Elder. So bases were so exorbitantly priced because you had to know how to manipulate the Elder bubble, the Shaper bubble, and it was a really hard thing. And also players who were farming for bases were actually missing out on currency, even though they're playing the hardest content. They didn't have the highest chance to get those currency drops, which just made no sense. So I think 5 leagues ago they switched it. It was after Legion League. I believe that's 5 leagues ago. They switched it. My 5 or 6. Anyways, the point is they ended up making the change so that as you progress in maps, the highest tier maps are the most rewarding currency wise, which that makes sense. This league brought something that probably no one covered because it seems like no one really understands some of the changes that they implemented this league. And the reason why early game, a lot of players, if you're not just happening to be lucky, are feeling like there's no currency. The reason why is because as you advance further into the game, it becomes more rewarding. They have doubled down on this. They added Delirium, which Delirium, they kind of have a plan. Like, they're a really good company. They're adding mechanics that they plan to keep, and they kind of have this goal and direction for the game. I really have to give it to GGG for this because they are making the game consistently better every single league. Obviously, because of the way the game works, we play a lot of a mechanic in the league, and then it becomes not as common, but it's still accessible. This is what they did for the endgame currency. That's what Delirium was. It's supposed to be another endgame grind that you work towards. It's to add more to the endgame. 100% Delirium maps. We all know these are really hard content. This is like, your build's absolutely amazing. A lot of people don't really understand the difficulty because a lot of people were playing Herald stacking, which was, just a broken build. But people who did actually play it, or people that tried it and then switched to Herald stacking, they understand how hard the Delirium 100% maps are. Unless you're, in a really well put together build, really good gear, you're not going to be able to do it. Or a completely broken build. um, so this gives us this end game grind, and you guys, if you played Delirium, you know how rewarding Delirium can be. The thing is the way that they set it up is the higher you get into the game, the more common the mechanics in the game become. This is a scaling reward that they have added as a permanent part of the game. So if you're discouraged early in the game, not getting much currency like me, every single league I run bad. I mean, I have never had a league playing the game where I've been lucky early league. I just have to make a smart plan, and I have to stick to it, and then I have to push into endgame. Because that's what, since they made those changes after Legion, the game has been about, and now it's more about that. The game becomes more rewarding the more you push in. A lot of people are saying, there's no currency to be made. There is currency to be made, and there's ways to make it there. And what people are going to see is once the league gets further into it, you're going to see a lot more currency start coming into the game. And the reason why is because the mechanics that are rewarding the most currency are going to become more common in the game. With the blights, like we saw blights scale up, and like with Delirium, there was literally so many blight maps dropping in the league that that they became almost like garbage in the league, like because there's more of them dropping than people were playing. There's just tons of leftovers. I mean, I think I have a couple hundred left over from last league, and I like playing blights. That's because Delirium was dropping them. Delirium will continue to drop them, but we're not seeing this just crazy overload of currency right at the beginning of the league, which that can be fun, but this can be fun also because this is a progressive challenge. And this league gives us the ability to, even if we're not getting tons of currency, to advance our equipment and get to that place where we're going to start getting crazy amounts of rewards. I personally think that this is cool. I think that it is going to make people stay interested in the game longer, because the thing is if they were to just keep on going in this direction of they just continue to scale the ease of getting into an end game build, you're going to wind up with something like the Diablo franchise had, which is basically like, you just get all the gear, everyone has the exact same builds, and you're just instantly at end game, and everyone's playing the exact same thing, and you're just looking for a little bit better versions of the exact same item, and it gets super boring super fast. This is a complex game. This is not this isn't a boring. I mean, I think it's boring. I like being challenged. I like thinking. I like working my way to that point. It's fun to be at that point, but if you're just instantly given it, that's not fun. You're gonna, if I'm just given a perfect build character, this is the reason why I don't play standard, because I already have all the good gear. Is it fun sometimes to mess around with really OP gear? Yes, but if I just always had access to the gear, I wouldn't play this game very much because there's nothing really for me to do. I can already smash all the content like it's nothing. That's why I like the leagues. That's why I like the introduction of stuff. That's why I like the balance changes, because it gives us the chance to play new stuff, to have new challenges, and that's what this is. There is going to be those rewards, and I think because a lot of people are discouraged by the lack of currency dropping, which, don't get me wrong, it can be discouraging coming out of a really high currency league where you feel like you're just getting a lot more. It's kind of like a mental thing. Like you're adjusted to getting something, so once that's taken away, it seems like a really big loss. But I think that's more because you're focusing on what you've lost and not on what you've gained. And the crafting inside of this is just absolutely crazy. Like I guarantee every single player that plays as much this league as played last league is going to wind up in better gear. Uh, if they actually use the league mechanic, just flat out, plain and simple, every character, every player that plays a character as much as they played last league, they're going to wind up with better gear, a better character. And the reason why is because even if you're unlucky, if you learn how to use this, you're going to be able to end up with a stronger character, stronger items. You could literally basically this would actually be an amazing league for like solo self-found league, because you can make all your equipment as long as you don't pick a build that requires, like, if I was playing, I wouldn't play this build if I was playing solo self-found. The reason why is because what do I need? I need uniques, so the uniques would specifically have to drop for me. But if you played something that didn't require that, you could create all the gear that you wanted, even if you're not having the drops, which that's what's cool about this league. Don't be stressed out thinking, oh, there's just no currency to be had. Advance your atlas, collect your stones. This is going to scale your currency. and then start adding stuff to your maps. The masters, they added the cool thing inside of our inside of the seeds, that we can actually trade masters that we don't want, which was actually something I said last league they needed to add, and they did it. They're picking up on things that that players want, like, and not just like, I'm new at the game, I want it to be easier, because companies that do that type of stuff, the games die, and this game's getting better every single league. They're doing things, I would say. I mean, I'm being careful how I say this. I don't think that I'm like the best player out there or anything like that, but I would say that I'm very experienced at this game, and I've been gaming since gaming began. I know what changes will make a game better, and when I'm saying things or seeing things that I'm like, oh, this would make this game better, and then they're doing it, that just shows that they are taking this game in a great direction. And although I see a lot of people, and I understand why a lot of people are kind of like, like, this league, I'm not getting currency, I'm struggling. Don't get down on it. You're gonna enjoy the league, unless you quit. If you just quit, then yeah, you're not gonna enjoy the league. But if you actually play the league, if you get to that end game, you're gonna see what I'm saying. You're gonna see this currency does start coming. The other thing that I'd like to point out, prices in this league for buying stuff are way lower. Why is that? Because everyone has less currency. Even the big drops. Last league, let me give you an example. Last league we had multiple items, 50, 60, 50, 60, 70 exalts, and I mean, like, just super high prices. I mean, you're talking about, cluster jewels selling for over 100 exalts. And even in a high reward league, you might be getting more rewards, but that just, since it's more accessible to everyone, that just drives up the price. More currency in the league means that those drops are less valuable. Weapons. Okay, so we have the most expensive. I'll go ahead and put this up. We have the most expensive items in the league right here. We have a 6 link Darkscorn, is six exalts. In this is the beginning of the 8th day of the league for PC. 6 link Starforge, for 5.5 exalts. The price of these items were like at minimum double. Like a non 6 link Starved Forge last league in the first week was like 20 exalts, and this one's 6 linked for a quarter of that. The Savior last league was 70 exalts at the beginning of the league. Yes, they made changes to it, but and it was a more popular build, so that's some of the reasons why that's not as scaled as much. Why it's 35, 14 times cheaper, at this point in the league. But you get the point. I mean, even we see golden oils at this point in the league. Last league, these were like an exalt and a half, 2 exalts, and there were more blight maps. Everyone could play blight maps. You could get red tier blight maps at this point in the league last league for like 5 chaos. And how much is an exalt? 190 chaos orbs. This is nearly only half of an exalt is what we're seeing on a gold oil. And they added an indigo oil. So the scaling up is actually is actually, from bottom up. If you were upgrading, it would actually take more to reach that point. So I mean, on those low tier oils, but they really don't matter. I mean, they put it really far down in the upgrade thing. Most people are not upgrading, thousands of the lowest tier oil to reach, or the lowest couple to reach one gold oil. But you get my point. Everything is just way, way, way less expensive. So you may be getting less currency, but the currency that you're getting has more value because there's less in the market. It's not just you. It's not just a small group of people. There are some people that are running lucky. There are people that have chosen better builds and have more access to do stuff, and still part of that is luck. I mean, just being 100% truthful with you, I'm already doing serious. I'm already high awakener level. I've been grinding only red maps since like day two. This is this is and I don't have a lot of currency. Um, so you can be doing that, but I'm making progression to a place where I'm going to be making more currency because I know that there is currency to be had. I just have to get there. So, you know, but I don't know. I wanted to bring some hope to people so that the people aren't feeling down, or feeling like there's no currency to be had, because there is. They've made it so the end game has more reward. Um, and the truth is that's kind of one of the problems about these really high reward league, as a lot of the newer players are players who just simply don't understand, the don't understand this, going from really having a lot of fun in a league that's just dropping a lot of currency and it feels really easy. They don't understand, the market of the game, and don't understand that there are still rewards, and although you're getting less, I mean, these are just market things. But people that don't understand that, have never experienced a high reward league like that, are normally going to be are going to normally feel discouraged. But don't be discouraged. Everyone has those opportunities to get the stuff. And what you should be working towards, if you feel like you don't have enough currency, use the seeds to upgrade your items if you don't have a lot of currency, and work on getting to that end game. The end game's still going to be just as rewarding as it was last league, because you can still get to those deliriums. You can still do the high tier deliriums. All that stuff is still available if you make it to a point where those are going to start showing up frequently. And what I'm specifically talking about their addition, I mean, we still have the scaling. Getting into higher tier maps is going to be more rewarding, but the more mechanics, the more stuff you have added to a map, the higher chance that delirium and mechanics will show up on the map. So if you get to this end game place, you're going to have a lot more access to that stuff, which means it's just going to inherently become, multiplicatively more rewarding, because you're not only going to be on the highest tier map getting the highest chance for rewards, you're going to be buffing up your maps, and that stuff, and adding masters, and that stuff is going to increase your chance to get other mechanics in there, which are then going to make all of the stuff that you added to it even more rewarding. So push for completion. That's going to help you with your maps. Push push into the end game stuff, and you'll have access to more rewards. Anyways, thanks for watching. Peace.